Hey, YouTube, Peter Gantner here. I am so glad to be here today with a good friend of True Badger, YouTube influencer, Chris Ford. Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Peter, I'm great. Great. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Wow. Well, so we're gonna do something unique here. I'm gonna throw myself in the lion's den with Chris, and he's gonna be asking me questions, just getting more information about True Badger, hopefully answering some of your questions.
Right.
If you do have a question that you'd like for us to cover, stick it in the chat. We have Deb in the background; she's stalking us, just watching out, and she's going to be putting those questions into the chat, and Chris will ask them for you guys. So, Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Peter. Thanks. Thanks again for having me. What I get a lot of questions, and they're asked either directly via email or as a comment on a YouTube video. And probably the most asked question is, how did True Badger get started? What's the history behind True Badger?
Yeah, about 5 or 6 years ago, I was looking at the home-based business industry and thought, man, there's something wrong here. Even though there's people who have great success in that industry, there's so many people who fail. And it's not just, I heard a lot of leaders, a lot of people that are, in the space that just said they just didn't do what was necessary to be done. And I thought there's got to be a better way. So we started working on a concept there. We assembled an amazing team of people into the space. About that time, I had learned about cryptocurrency, and I got involved with a project called Gob Miner just before that. And I put a few $1,000s in. I was buying these miners, and they ended up getting shut down. They tried to launch their own coin. It was going to be a stable price. It was never going to be less than $20. It would be used for commerce, all the great stuff. And it flopped. And I said, oh, that's got to be a bad space. Not that there's bad people in the space or someone who made a mistake. And I don't know the gentleman who ran it. So I don't know whether it was set up to be a scam or if it was just somebody made a mistake, right? They made a promise they couldn't keep. People got upset and came after them. So anyway, so then we started that company. And then in 2018, of course, the crypto boom comes, right? It hits, 11 million, 12 million. I get involved in it. I take $15,000 and turn it into $45,000 in like 60 something days. It's fantastic. I talked with my partner, Doug, and we decided to build a trading software. So we start building and working on that for trading cryptocurrency. Well, then the great correction comes, right? I love calling them corrections, right? Because things got a little hot. And that adjusted things. Well, in the meantime, we stayed on the path of working on helping people through building entrepreneurship. So we've helped over 40 entrepreneurs in different ways. Well, that leads back to today. So we start talking about it's time now to get into it. One of my issues with cryptocurrency in 2018 was not that it wasn't making progress, but the utility of the blockchain was still lagging. So there was very little usage. As a matter of fact, if you go back to 2018, there's a statistic. I think the top DApp at that time had like 700 people a day using it, right? So there was these big ideas and this great stuff that the blockchain was going to do. And of course, cryptocurrency is just a representation of the blockchain, right? It's how you monetize the technology, the underlying technology, the blockchain. And so I said, well, we got to wait for it to mature a little bit. Well, then I started finding things like Brave, incredible browser, started looking at the statistics, 18 million, 20 million, 25 million users. It's now time for the utility side of the blockchain. So we dive in and decide to start a token. Well, we're working on the design and that side of it. And then I saw SafeMoon. And when I first saw SafeMoon and heard about the fee on it and all that, I went, oh, that's got to be a scam, right? A bazillion tokens, numbers you can't even calculate in your head, right? And I'm pretty good with math. But, being a fair business person and it having the success, I said, I've got to really look into this and figure out what the excitement is. I started looking at it and I went, these tokenomics are brilliant. They were, I think, a little bit off, 5% in reflection and 5% in LP. That is basically saying that there's two factors that make up a value of a cryptocurrency, right? People holding it and then this security in the LP that's there. Those are definitely two factors, and they're in our tokenomics. But there are other factors, and that is building value behind the brand. So a lot of these projects that didn't build in anything to keep revenue, they've put things on their site saying, please donate to the project. I went, well, that's kind of weird. The people that are going to donate are the most loyal holders. So now you have the most loyal holders funding the progress for the day traders, right? The people that are going to get in and out of the crypto who are making the money now. So I thought that's an imbalance. So we decided to put together a tokenomics to where we have money to develop and build projects where we don't have to come ask for people to give donations, where we have the marketing funds. I saw a lot of projects that were like, oh, we'd love to do that. We just don't have the money to do it, right? Because they didn't put together, they have the same similar tokenomics where it's reflection and LP, not the other stuff. And then of course, with the burning situation, a lot of people have done auto burns.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, community is so important. And that's why we put the manual burn in place. So that's probably a really long answer to a very small question, but it's good to document on it how we got to this path. So then we decided to launch True Badger. Now True Badger's in the marketplace, and we are just absolutely can't be thrilled more of how it's performing, the community that we've built, which is our strongest feature. Our tokenomics are awesome, but the community, the people behind this token that are buying and holding it, that see the long-term vision, that are excited about getting the reflection, they're going, wait a minute, this company has the potential to be gigantic. I'm getting daily reflection on it. If I just hold these instead of trading them, then I'm going to put myself in a better position.
Yeah. Well, I never get involved or never do a video with something I'm not involved in. I had one person ask me, can you do a review on such and such? I'm going like, how can I do a review if I'm not in it?
Right.
So I think True Badger is awesome. I'm reading off one of the comments I got on a previous video. And this guy, I don't know if he was being sincere. I don't know, but we're going to answer his question anyway. The question is, and you probably already answered or touched on it, what makes True Badger unique? Why should I invest in True Badger?
So it starts with community, right? We have a base community of people that are holders that are going to hold for the long run, right? And there are people, a little bit of people selling, but you can see when you look at the chart how we went up. We have smaller dips than probably just about any project that I've ever seen. And we steadily are climbing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it's a well-seasoned team behind it that understands entrepreneurship. We understand business. We've built successful businesses before. We've worked together for the last 5 years. I know my team because we've been working together for this last 5 years. The other side of it too is we've become very skilled, probably one of the top teams out there in building community. So if community is so powerful in the blockchain space, so if you have a great community, if you have a great team, and then that team is very skilled in building community, you've got three of those aspects. And then of course we've connected with one of the best blockchain developers in the world. And you see that by, if you go to Coin Sniffer, our contract, especially in the deflationary reflection utility space, it has all green checks. Most of them have a red check on a duplicate contract. We don't have a duplicate contract. We have a unique contract that was built from scratch. So we just didn't do a, hey, let's, and look, it's done in software all the time, right? People clone somebody's software and then make improvements to it. Ours is not a clone with improvements. Ours is a original contract that was built. So now you take that, and our team is extremely good at coming up with business concepts and ideas, and we're skilled at solving problems. So when you start putting all these elements together, you end up and you look at it and you go, there's only one place for a True Badger to go, and that's straight up. We're going to develop some of the most innovative products in the industry those projects are funded and run by the fee that's on there. To me, that fee is the property of the token holders. It's one of the reasons why I love the tokenomics of it. Yes, there's a fee on it, but 100% of that fee is going to what? Establish more value for the holders, the people who own the token. It's brilliant, right? When you look at it. In other cases where there's mining fees or there's other types of fees, those fees are going to maybe somebody who owns equipment on proof of work stuff. And that's okay. They bought the equipment, they're making it work, they deserve to get paid. But in this situation, it's the holders that are getting the full benefit of every dollar that comes in on that fee, whether it's being used for us to run the day-to-day operations. Another thing that just amazes me in this space, people think they can build software that doesn't need people involved with it in order to run businesses. It's just not the way that it works, right? Those are the, if you want a successful organization that's creating value, because that's how wealth of a company is built, right? Amazon, Ford, Visa, Bank of America, all of these companies are worth something. They have value, not because people want to buy and sell their stock. They have value because they have assets and they create products and services that people are willing to exchange money for their products and services. That's where value comes from. In order to do that with a project, you need to have people involved because people get things done, right? Now you want, of course, the trust, the trust issue solved, and that's done by the blockchain. But so you put the trustless blockchain in place, right? That you don't have to worry about trusting it, or trusted blockchain, right? In place that takes over where you have your organizations that maybe, have a lot of people in them that you might not be able to trust. So you can trust the blockchain, but there's still people behind it that's moving it and driving it within that trusted function that's put together by the smart contract.
So would you say, and I get this question a lot, what's the most important aspect of True Badger?
The community.
Okay.
Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Now, secondly, is the value in the technology that we'll build into it. And I guess over time, right, they get closer together, right? But right now it's really what's driving all crypto, right, is belief in whether it's going somewhere or it's not going somewhere. If I don't know if it's going somewhere and it's going up, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to resell it when it starts going down, giant peaks. Eventually everybody, so you have to have belief, and people are community. So community that believes in a project will drive up the value of it. That value is then used to move technology, which then creates a product or service that can be sold to people, which then create money, which then create the backside of that, of the project, the value in it.
Yeah. Well, I want to touch on the ecosystem for a second, but before we go there, I see a lot of posts on Reddit, on Twitter, advertisements on PooCoin for different tokens and I always see the comment, the team is not doxed. Can you explain what that means and the significance of a doxed team?
Yeah. So a docs team is a team that is documented, right? So doc stands for documented, meaning we know who they are, right? And I don't know, in traditional business, imagine if you had a bank and you didn't know who ran the bank, right? Now there are reasons in this space, and I'll cover those very quickly, why some people are doing that, right? Of course, we all know the biggest non-doxed person on the planet is Satoshi, right? Nobody knows who he is. Right. Now that's built this entire ecosystem. So in that case, having somebody non-doxed worked. And maybe it's the reason why Bitcoin survived. They didn't know who to go after. So there's nobody to go after. How do you go after a cryptocurrency that's in thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of wallets? So in that case, and there are cases where not being doxed makes sense. If something is a privacy coin and those type of things, you don't want somebody, that there's to go after, right? You want it to be able to. And so crypto is in a space where you worry, is an authority or is a banker or somebody going to get upset about it? So in some cases, docs being non-docs works, right? Not knowing who the owners are. But there's a lot of cases on these coins where they're simply running supposedly a business. They're going to build shopping software or they're building some other software. There's really no sense in being an undoxed team if you're going to do that. Being a documented team, you know who's running it. So you can look and say, have they done anything in the past? Do they have a business background? Do they have a software background? What are the projects that they worked on? Also, too, is who, if they do decide to do a rug pull, which is, I just don't understand how people do it. There's somebody for you to go, oh, let me go after that person because they pulled it from me, just in a regular business. If I'm doing business with a painter in town and I give him a $5,000 deposit to paint my house, he doesn't show up and paints it, I know I can, there's somebody for me to go after, right? As long as I hire a legal person that's doing it and, you know, legal company that has all the documentation. That's the reason why you pay a little bit more money for that stuff. So a documented team, and that's what we are, guys. We are a fully documented team that is behind this. We stand by the decisions that we make, and we stand by the promises in that our goal is to build this ecosystem that will continue to create value for consumers, for users of our products and services, which then creates value for the True Badger token.
Speaking of ecosystem, can you expand on exactly what that entails and what the values be? Yeah.
Just like a traditional ecosystem of which is a set of different things that make up a whole. Okay, so an ecosystem. So as we develop and build, so True Badger has an innovation fund. That innovation fund will go to create new products. One of those products we're doing is something special in the NFT space. In the NFT space, that will sell NFTs, valuable collectible art. It's our goal is at an affordable price, right? So make it where the masses can afford to hopefully one day own that Beeple, right? Or something, right? And we're not working with Beeple, but I'm just saying something of that nature with that value where it might be worth 10 or 20 or $30,000 or $40,000. Making that affordable, making that. So that is going to generate revenue, and it's going to generate revenue simply by us selling a product to people, which are NFTs. That's part of our ecosystem. And the reason why it's an ecosystem is every time there's revenue generated for the NFT project, it will put money to, it will basically revenue share with True Badger. And it'll give a piece of that revenue. We're going to do a platform, a unique platform, not a traditional swap like a pancake swap or a Uniswap, but one that's really set up to prevent bots from early manipulation of the first time projects start swapping. So we're not a launch pad. We're not raising money for projects, but we're allowing for a very organized swap to take place that then allows it to go to pancake swap without the manipulation of bots. It's actually one of the reasons why I think we were so successful. If we would have let the bots come in and manipulate, we would have went up to a 20, 30, $40 million market cap. People would have purchased it. We would have came back down to 16, 18, probably further. We probably would have went down to 8 or 9 because the people that bought at 40 would panic and sell. The reason why we've been able to build this steady is a great community and the way we launched utilizing this software, which we're going to put into place on that. Again, a portion of that revenue will go back to the True Badger because it's an ecosystem. Everything feeds everything. So the True Badger community helps launch the swap. The True Badger community helps launch the NFT. As a matter of fact, they become our most loyal customers, right? I'm a True Badger holder. I like NFTs. I buy the NFTs. So it's an ecosystem is things that work together for the success of everything that's included in it. So True Badger's helping the NFT, True Badger's helping the launch, the swap that we're doing. And in turn, they are helping True Badger by feeding it revenue, which then helps benefit the token holders of True Badger because it's either doing a buy and a burn, or maybe it's figuring out some way to distribute that in a unique way. Maybe it's the community has decided to give it away for charity. There's all kinds of things that can be done with it. One of the things we like to do with it is it's a backstop for if the market starts to drop, there'll be a fund over here that says, oh, it's going down. Let's buy some tokens back. Some of those tokens will be burned. Some will be held in the account to maybe sell back into the market a little later when the market's recovered, have more money for what? If it drops, we can buy them back. So these backstop things that we can put into place to stabilize the token for the token holders.
As a YouTuber, what I try to do is when I see something unique and something I'm interested in, especially if I'm involved in it, then at that point, I want to bring it to the masses. What I try to do is show you something that you can't find anywhere else. So along that lines, can you talk a little bit about the anti-whale policy?
Yeah. So one of the things is with it is, and I've run across it myself, right? Our anti-whale policy. Last week we had our burn party, and I'm going, okay, I got to burn 61 trillion tokens. Get out the wallet, get ready to send them over. Failed transaction. Oh my goodness, what the heck? What's going on here? Tried a second time. Oh wait, we have an anti-whale policy in there. You can only sell or buy 2 trillion tokens at a time. And that sounds like a lot of tokens, but it's 1/400th of the circulation. And the reason being is that so in a lot of the projects don't have these, a whale will, and this is a on purpose type thing. They'll get in low, they'll run up the token price. They'll automatically go drop a big chunk of tokens all at once. Why? They're trying to get everybody who holds the token to panic. Because when everybody panics, it goes back down.
Right.
They buy back in again down at the bottom because they know there's community and they know that it's going to stay around and it's going to go back up. It goes back up, and they do this again and again and again. By having 2 trillion tokens, first of all, it slows them down because instead of dropping 12 trillion tokens at one time, they'll have to do that in 6 different transactions. So it gives people a chance to see what's happening and what's going on. And the same thing with purchasing. We don't have any large holders. As a matter of fact, all the large wallets that you see when you go on BS Scan, those are all token holder wallets, meaning the project True Badger holds those wallets. Right. I believe the biggest wallet holder that we have is maybe either just over 1% or less than 1%. Why is that important? Because, and the reason for that is, as we were screaming up, they had to go in and do a transaction, then wait a few, a little bit, then go do a second. In that time, 50 more people did a transaction. So they paid a higher price going all the way up as we came out of the gate. So it really ended up where it had the most benefit was upon launch, but it does still have an ongoing benefit to give people a chance. If somebody comes in and sells a lot, I hold the token. It gives me a chance to get some of my money off the table before they crash the price. And I think that is a very beneficial. We played around a little bit with, would we benchmark that to be a B? Would we benchmark that to the token? Would it be smaller than that? But of course, with great success, we realized that we had to have it a little bit bigger number, but a fair number to stop that from happening.
Well, I attended the last burn party on Friday night, which was a lot of fun. I did see a spike in volume because I was watching it on PooCoin, the chart. But I get this question a lot. Will the burns, how long will they last? Will they last forever? Will they end at some point? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Wow, that is a great question. That's going to lead me to, you'll see a lot of projects out there that say, we renounced ownership. Yay. And everybody cheers it. And as a matter of fact, it makes people FOMO into, or just jump and ape in, I guess is a better word to use, ape into a project. Oh, they renounced ownership. I have to tell you, in my opinions, and that's what this is based on, is my thought process in this, renouncing ownership is a negative thing. Because you cannot change the tax. They are stuck with that tax rate forever. Our tax rate will be here as long as the True Badger community wants the tax rate here. It's our job as the people that are this, and I'm going to say we're the stewards of True Badger, right? I'm not necessarily the CEO. Sure, I have a title there. I am a steward of the True Badger token. I'm here to watch over, protect, guard and guide the True Badger token for the token holders, right? That's what we're here to be able to do. As a steward, now once our governance is in place, which we're working on, the foundation, all that stuff, getting that in place, getting our governance in place, at some point we'll put out a vote. Do we want to lower the tax or fee? Do we want to eliminate the LP? Do we want to eliminate the reflection? Do we want to eliminate the, so that really will be up to the token holders. And as the supply diminishes and we get into a reasonable thing, then it would be up to us to explain to the community, you know what, at this point, it would be much better to eliminate it completely. Everybody's done well, and that can, so ours can be eliminated completely. But that will be up to the token holders to be able to do that.
And along those lines, you talk about governance. Can you expand on governance, what that means and where you're headed there?
Yeah. So governance to me is extremely important. If I'm a token holder, I want to say so in who is running things. I want to say so in the direction that we're going. But, you know, collective intelligence allows for a whole bunch of people to have better decision-making ability than one. And so governance allows for token holders under certain circumstances, meaning when I say that, you'd have to hold so many. If I hold 5 True Badger tokens, I'm not going to have a voting representation in it. But if I'm a big enough holder, then there'll be a mechanism put in place. It could be a governance token. It could be a way for you to vote the tokens you hold. These are the things that we're going to figure out. These are the things that the community is going to help us figure out. So we're looking at governance right now. So I'm examining things like PCX and Polkadot and some of the other ones that are out there that have incredible governance, right? That are working because this is a new space, right? I don't know if anybody knows what the perfect or the best governance is, but that's what we're going to work to find out. So one of our things in governance will be is no one would ever be able to buy governance, meaning I could buy 80. Let's say I'm a trillionaire, right? I mean, I have all the money in the world, and True Badger market cap is $300 billion. So I go drop 270 billion of my trillion into True Badger, and I buy 90% of the tokens. That person would not have governance over the token. The 10% holders would actually still have the governance of the direction of the token. So that's the first thing. We're eliminating any chance of anybody buying governance in the way that we're setting it up. But governance will allow for us to say, hey guys, we have this tax, this fee. Would you like to eliminate it, or would you like to lower it? Our innovation fund, okay, let's say a year from now, our innovation fund has $40 million in it. We have 40 projects launched, 12 projects, 10 projects, whatever it is. They're all making money. They're feeding in. We don't need the tax anymore. We come to you guys and say, hey, token holders, we really don't need this anymore. Let's lower it. And the one thing that I love about this type of stuff is imagine being a holder for over that year or 2 year period of time, and you've held all your tokens instead of selling them or, you know, swapping them, because we'll be on a centralized exchange. You sell on a centralized exchange, you swap on a pancake swap. So either swapped or sold them. And now the tax goes down to 8%, right? Because at that time it's a 2% for the innovation fund. Well, guess what? You just gained 2% more on your entire amount because of the simple fact that you held on to the token. So there's a reward for being a long-term holder, and on top of the reflection. Plus, it's going to give you what? More governance in the governance model that we're going to put together. So governance, it will get started. Once the foundation is in place, then we'll release a document that says, here's the governance we're thinking about. We're going to give a period of time of 2 weeks to get feedback from token holders. You will have to be a token holder to give us feedback. If you're not a token holder, sorry, we don't care what you have to think about or say, right? Token holders are who we care about. That's who we're going to have direct us and put us in the right direction. After that, then we'll formulate a document that will be the governance, which we propose to run under. At that point, again, token holders, you'll have to have a minimum number, and you would have had to held them for a certain period of time. You can't buy them on Tuesday, vote on Wednesday, and sell them on Thursday, right? So there'll be a period of time that you would have had to hold the tokens, and a minimum amount, and then you'll get a vote towards, yes, we want that governance, or we like some of the governance, not all of it. If we don't like it as a whole, as a community, we'll go back and rewrite some of the stuff and improve it. And we'll keep doing that until we get a positive vote for that governance. And then we'll get with our software people and see what it will take to build the technology to execute that governance. At that point, then the governance will take place. So we'll set a date, and on December 24th, right, our governance goes into place. From that model forward there, we run on the governance model. There'll be a way for token holders to submit a request saying, hey, I want to change this, right? And then there'll be a formal thing where people can come in for a how can you say, what I would call a quick vote, right, where we can say, take a quick temperature of the community and say, yes, that's worth to move to the next level. So we're not just everyday voting on stuff, right? We're voting on important issues that mean something to the mass of the community holders or token holders, not just to a few simple people who want to try to, move things around.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I want to get to some of the comments and some of the questions that are coming in. One of the comments, and I found this to be true, this is kind of why I got involved, was the transparency, getting back to the team. And then another question I see here, Jeff Simpson asked, has True Badger met your personal expectations so far, or has it surpassed your expectations in the early stages? So if you can touch on that a bit.
So what has surpassed my expectations is the stability of it. I knew we were going to be stable because we started with such a great community. Have we? I would love to be at $100 million market cap, right? I see other tokens that don't have what we have, they're meme, or they have, but so I don't know if we would ever, and if we were at 100 million, I'd probably say, wow, I want to be at 200 or 300 million, because the more we're at, right, the more volume we're doing on a daily basis, the more resources we have to drive that's the reason I love the fee. I'm normally not a fee person, but when I look at this fee, I say, wow, that gives the power behind the token for us to drive and innovate and make things happen. I am extremely excited about where we are and what we've done. We have a marketing budget, and we've spent some marketing, and we're ramping that up, but we have not spent that much. And it's because of the community that we have behind it. And we've built this beautiful stability. So instead of hurry up and FOMO into marketing, okay, and that's what a lot of people do. They FOMO into marketing. We were talking to a couple of guys that worked with one of the teams, and they said, oh, they spent $50,000 on an influencer. Yes,
right.
Some influencers do get paid for their influence, right? That's the name of the game. I said that the other day, and they go, oh my God, they're getting paid. Yes, they do, right? If they build a giant audience.
Before the record, I'm not.
You are not.
I'm getting paid as that token value increases. I'm getting paid. So.
And that's actually why I'm like, yes, of course we'll do an interview, right? Because,
right.
But it didn't move their token at all. Matter of fact, that day their token went down. And so you look at that and you go, well, did they FOMO into that just looking at the numbers? So I got to tell you guys, as far as I'm concerned, the token holders, these marketing funds are your funds. We need to be wise when we spend them. So what we do is when an influencer reaches out to us, first of all, we go look at the last 10 or 12 or 15 videos they've done. Are they sincere? We love Chris because he loves our token. He believed in what we were doing. He didn't do it, hey, pay me $5,000 and I'll do your token. I don't care if it's what I call the dirty tokens or a clean token, or it doesn't matter what value the token. It doesn't matter doxed, undoxed. They'll just do it because they're getting paid money. But we make sure that when we bring somebody on board, when we take because I'm a token holder as well, our community funds, and we're going to put them towards marketing or towards anything, that we're making sure that we've done our due diligence to make sure that that's going to be somewhat effective. Never can tell what blows something up and what gets it going. going back to Jeff's question, I actually love where we're at right now because we didn't come out of the gate like a few other tokens have recently and gone up to 90 million and then came all the way back down to 25, $26 million, right? We have gone up, we came down a little bit, and we've built this steady thing, which I believe is building confidence in our token holders.
Well,
and community is so important to what we're doing.
That's one of the reasons I ask about the anti-whale policy, but based on the movement, it prevents the big dips. So, but to answer Jeff's question myself, I'm blown away. And I was introduced to this by a mutual friend. And I've never met Peter in my life, but I saw what I saw and I just keep digging and digging and digging. And then at that point, if I like what I see, I'll do a video. I didn't talk to anybody about it. I just did it because I'm involved in it. But moving on real quick, Donovan Palmer asked, the London Times reported this week that TSB Bank was stopping some of its support for crypto. And also China is cracking down on mining. Are these developments good or bad for our space?
Oh my goodness. So let's cover the China one. First of all, thank you, China, right? Thank you. Thank you. Now it's going to put a kink in our little armor there for a little while. But think about this. For so long, one of the big fears was that the majority of mining was in China, a communist country who some days likes crypto, some days they don't. They're developing their own. So now all of a sudden China's saying, hey, we're going to crack down. It is moving out of that country into places like Texas, right? I feel a lot better having Bitcoin mining in Texas than having it over in China. So overall, it's rough on us right now, right? Because it made Bitcoin price drop. It's going to harm the hash rate for a little while, right? Because those systems are being shut down and they're having to be reset up and moved to other places. So there will be some short-term pain, but in the long term, it does take away the danger of having the mining controlled mainly in a country that is a communist country who we don't know from Monday to Tuesday what they're, they wake up in a bad mood. Maybe they, make some decision that harms us. So it's getting away from that and getting to more stable places on that one. And what was the other part of it, Chris?
It says
the first part.
Yeah, TSB Bank.
TSB Bank
stopping some of its support for crypto.
Guys, banks are going to do what banks are going to do. So I'll point to Mark Cuban, right? Mark Cuban got involved in ARN Finance. ARN Finance had a run on the bank. It happens. Regulation. So I hope what happens here is that this industry starts to regulate itself. So one of our ideas is, and you'll start to see this very soon, we are building an entire a university, a True Badger University. It'll launch probably in about 2 to 3 weeks. And it is to educate people on scams, educate people on the crypto space. And I know there's a lot that's out there, guys, but we're going to gather it all in one place. We need to start regulating it ourselves. And part of that is from a community standpoint, guys, is as token holders, as crypto enthusiasts, we need to put a higher standard on and not FOMO into things and FOMO out of them and ape in and ape out. We need to start treating this like we want to make sure. So like if a project has a non-docs team and there's no reason for it, okay? And I believe there'll be a reason for undocs teams on some projects for a little while, right? Because maybe they're in that gray area of operation, right? But when you look at a project and you go, wait a minute, they're selling a product or they're going to create this or a piece of software, there's no reason to be undocked. We have to start demanding that we have more undocs teams that we know who's running them. We've got to start thinking through the process. Is a meme coin really worth billions and billions of dollars without having a purpose to it, a utility to it? If we're driving tokens that have very little utility to them or no utility up to high values, other people are getting involved in that. What's going to stop that from going away, right? Memes come, memes go throughout the years. And by the way, guys, memes do have value in our lives. As a matter of fact, we're running a meme contest right now. I get so much joy and happiness watching these memes, right? You're like, wow, these are incredible. So they do bring value, but that value needs to be. So I think that when we start looking at the crypto space, like you would buy a stock to a company. So let me draw this out. There's a store. It has no revenue, no customers, just a great idea. And we don't even know who's running it, but yet we give it a value of 900 billion or $900 million because it's got a pretty website, right? That doesn't happen in the real world, right? It is happening here. I'm pretty smart when it comes to business. I read some of these websites. I don't understand what they're doing, right? And these tokens have values of 40, 50, $100 million, right? 200 million. And the reason why is there's people behind it that are driving up the value, right? They're manipulating. You can see when you go into these and you see a whole bunch of really small, a big purchase and then a whole bunch of small purchases, sometimes those are bots that are doing it. And all they're doing is running up the price so they can exit their big purchase with a bunch of small purchases. So these are the things. So as token holders, we can get better at doing that. As an industry, we need to get better at policing ourselves, make less ARN finances, less issues in that area. And we've got to get rid of the scam artists. I've watched people scam people out of millions in crypto on Telegram by saying, you can get involved 0.2 BNB to 100 BNB or 20 BNB or Ethereum, 0.2 Ethereum up to 10 Ethereum. And you watch people and because what they've done is they've taken the name of the site. So I'll use True Badger, for example. We're True Badger Official, right? That's our name. We have one site for our Telegram and one for announcements, right? One that people can talk about. That's it. They'll clone it, come up with something that's close to it. And then they'll say, oh, we're doing a True Badger. Well, first of all our tokens are out in the marketplace. We're not printing anymore. They can't run to raise money for us, right? But they do this usually when projects are doing IDOs. And of course, they scam people out of millions of dollars. That really harms this industry. That is the reason why some of the banks are going, hit the brakes, right? Let's slow down the process. So everyone involved needs to help clean this up and start doing a better job of being more diligent and figuring out ways to stop the scam artists from hurting this industry, because there are great companies. You look at the Oracle companies and NFT projects. I mean, think about it right now. Art that would have never been available to people now is available to them, right? So NFTs have value, and NFTs have financial value to them. People being able to take crypto, put it in there, and instead of getting 0.25% from the bank, they're now getting 4 or 5 or 6% on their money in a stable situation by going ahead and putting it in with somebody who has insurance that if something happens, they can get their money back, right? We put our money in the bank because it has insurance, right? And so if something happens at the bank, I can get my money back. We need to hold those standards too in the DeFi space here. Companies need to have enough revenue to buy insurance to protect their holders, right? These are common sense things that we need to make sure we get in place. There are insurance things coming up. There's great companies coming up. So again, I think with diligence from token holders, diligence from the token project owners, we can really clean things up and make it much better.
Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I've got one last question. I want to preface it by saying, when my YouTube philosophy, when I do a video, if I learn something new that I didn't know and I had to search to find it, I think that's value. Because there's, in the first place I check is YouTube. So, but along those lines, you have your experienced people, experienced in crypto or not. You have your, I guess, a medium, I don't know what the word would be there, that's somebody that's probably been in a couple of years. Then you have your advanced, and then you have your beginners. Now, I was always taught that a business, if you can't educate the beginners, you can't grow. So I try to do a YouTube video with that in mind. Now, for new people getting involved in True Badger, this is my last question. What would you recommend they do?
So first of all, they should go subscribe to your channel. They should like your stuff, right?
I agree.
We need more people like you, right? Not the pump and dump YouTube people, right? Solid. And there are great YouTubers out there, guys. I listened to several of them, right, throughout the process. So first, go subscribe to Chris's channel. He's got the right idea. He's got the right concept. He's going to bring you quality stuff across the board. Secondly, we're going to build our university. You need to understand and you need to know the source of where you're getting your information from when you're going to learn from it. One of the things that we did that was unique at True Badger is we went through the process, right? So first of all, we'll never forget the process we went through to get into crypto. As a matter of fact, I had talked about in 2018, I got involved. I was going to get involved about 2 months earlier, but I went to set up and they said, you need this wallet and you need this and you need this, and you need this. I'm like, I don't have time for this right now. I sat down, I tried to set up for like 5 or 6 minutes. I couldn't figure it out. I left, came back a few weeks later, tried it again. It was 3 or 4 times before I finally jumped in, right? And then got to 40, went back to the 15 that I put in, pulled that off the table. So I didn't lose any money, but I didn't make any money. If I would have been involved 2 months earlier because I understood and knew what to do. And of course, in 2018, there weren't as many YouTube videos about this space. It was actually pretty sparse, right? Since then, you've gotten way more information. I could have made $200,000 and it would have went backwards still, but I would have had 40 or 50 left. So it would have been a more profitable experience, might have kept me more engaged, right? So we set up Zoom rooms the days before we launched, and the day we launched, we had Zoom rooms set up and we walked people through that process. Well, we're going to continue that process. True Badger will have somebody on 5 to 6 days a week for about 3 hours a day. It's an open Zoom room. Yeah. You'll be able to go to a university and you're having a problem with Trust Wallet. You'll be able to go there. We'll either get you a video that can explain to you what to do. We'll walk you through it and we'll help you. Now, of course, it's first come, first serve. If we end up with a full room of 40, 50 people, we might only be able to cover 5 or 6 issues. You can learn from there. So we're going to do our best to juggle this around. If we end up with overwhelming demand, we'll probably open up a second room, that type of stuff. And guys, the reason we want to build value behind True Badger, right? We want token holders. We want long-term people. What's the best way that I know how to do that is to find someone who knows nothing about crypto and help them be educated and teach them the way. And as they profit and as they get there, I always think back, who got me into crypto? What was my first thing? And I'm grateful for that moment because it's brought me to here, right? And it's been a very rewarding experience up to this point, from us building Digibot to now launching True Badger, to the money I've made off of other cryptos that are in the marketplace. So I have a very positive experience with it. And I believe the blockchain is going to create so much value for society. It's going to make this a better world to live in. So that's a good thing right there. So with all of that wrapped together, it's community is power. Connect yourself with a community, either True Badger. It is the best, I'm telling you right now. But sometimes getting in with second best works as well. So connect yourself with a community of people. If you don't know what you're doing, they will help educate, guide you. And if it's from a reliable source, should end up with a very positive experience and getting a lot more people involved in the token space.
And a new person, I get most of the True Badger information from the Telegram. That's where I get most of it.
Telegram, a great place. Yeah. Discord, we're really setting up a great Discord. If you've never used it before, I tried to use it again, there's too much here and I left it. We've got a lot of stuff going on in Telegram. You'll be able to get a lot, or Discord, you'll be able to get a lot of information in Discord. And then look, going on our Zooms, I had a lady just 2 days ago. She's been putting off True Badger for a week. She keeps going, I need to do it. She got on with Deb on a Zoom, and within less than 2 minutes, she went, that was easy, Peter. Why didn't I do this a week ago? Exactly, because we had them going a week ago, right? So, get the help that you need, guys. Ask for help. We'll provide that help in the best way possible. Matter of fact, if you need a question answered, go to the Telegram, put that question in. Somebody in the group. Now, I want to say this. make sure it is a True Badger admin. They'll have a symbol next to their name, a graphic. We never will direct message you first. Okay. Never, not for any reason. And one thing we will never do is ask for your 12 seed phrases.
Right.
Okay. Never will we ever ask for it. Do not give it. If you give somebody your 12 words, you are giving them your crypto. Okay.
Yep.
You don't own it, or you co-own it
Absolutely.
with that person, and probably they're going to move it to another wallet, so you're not even going to co-own it anymore.
Well, I've got lastly, I've got a pregnant daughter-in-law. Is the name Truman? Is that trademarked? Can I?
I love it. We'll definitely have to get his picture on the, or I guess it could be a her too, right? There's her picture up on there, the first Truman born, inspired by True Badger.
Well, all I can say is thanks for your time today. Go True Badger, and we'll see you in the trenches.
Well, thank you for everything you're doing, Chris. I've enjoyed this so much. Again, guys, go over to Chris's channel, Chris Ford, subscribe.
Yeah, actually, it's our Chris Ford, because Chris Ford was taken. When I got that domain 10 years ago, it was taken. So I had to put my first name's Robert. I had to put the R there. So it's been that way ever since.
All right. R Chris Ford, go there. I'm a subscriber. Be a subscriber to it, guys. And let's keep supporting great people like Chris that are on task to make